Like my brother in Christ, if you had a relationship with a 14-year-old girl, it's your fucking fault. One of the weirdest aspects of this is that like we don't know how long this has actually been going on.
I spent most of my life investigating the obscure dark corners of the internet. I've seen it all. The sad, the weird, the disturbing, but nothing has ever sickened me quite like the individual we will be discussing today. This video will be covering some very heavy subjects, and I recommend you go back and reread the disclaimer if you skimmed over it. This is the story of a horrifying Instagram account, and the hunt to find the monster who is behind it. This is the story of smartschoolboy 9. On July 20th, 2024, a Reddit user made a post to r/internet mysteries titled, "Creepy Instagram Profiles of People Pretending to be Kids." The accounts were perplexing, featuring strangely edited pictures and a strange-looking man dressed as a child. It became apparent upon closer inspection that this man may pose a threat to children, which prompted a community to band together to find him and report him to the local police. But before we get to the investigation and an interview with one of the investigators who reported this man, let's explore these accounts and the sickening behavior of the man behind it. Starting with the most infamous account, smartschoolboy9, we can develop a basis for who this man is and explanations for his behavior. SSB is a grown man, estimated by investigators to be middle-aged, who obsessively pretends to be a child on social media platforms. Although we will only highlight a few of the accounts, investigators found at least 10, and new ones are still being found at the time of recording this video. We will censor much of the content posted by SSB, because his accounts often featured edited pictures of children, some presumably taken by him, and some AI-generated images of children. This immediately raises some red flags for obvious reasons, and I will not be showing any posts involving children that he preys upon. Along with these creepy photos, the posts often feature the man himself, dressed up in a school uniform, boots, and some sort of prosthetic on his lower face. This is SSB's disguise, or costume, in which he pretends to be a child to prey on actual children on social media. This child character that SSB plays often fixates on his school uniform, his love of school, and his obsession with actual children on Instagram. There's proof that he comments on real children's Instagram posts and also attempts to contact them. This is very suspicious behavior and needs to be dealt with by both Instagram and the appropriate authorities. The other most important account to understanding SSB's psychology is called truthsticks11. This account plays the role of his child character's mother, which is actually just him running another account. The truthsticks account is centered around warning mothers of men pretending to be children on Instagram. Does that sound like someone we know? My personal theory about this account is that it is a way to try and convince people that SSB is an actual child, although he is too deluded and creepy to make this convincing at all. Truthsticks can be construed as an acknowledgement by SSB that he knows what he's doing, as the account talks extensively of men pretending to be children on Instagram, something he is obviously guilty of. Along all of these accounts are heavily edited pictures of children, which are made to more closely resemble SSB's strange costume, most likely as a way of affirming his deluded belief that he looks like a child. Other miscellaneous information that you should know about him is that he very often comes up with these elaborate fantasies on his accounts in which he says that he was visiting schools or giving speeches to great applause, all while pretending to be a child. Now that you're more familiar with this man's online presence, I'd like to run through some alleged interactions with SSB that users claim to have had. Take these stories with a grain of salt, as anyone on the internet can make up any fake story. If you're already sickened by what you've seen so far, then prepare yourself, because the following is deeply disturbing. One Reddit user writes, "He messaged someone I know the creepiest shit when he was younger, and included some screenshots. The message consists of SSB pretending to be a 12-year-old girl and attempts to befriend the user. Although we do not know the age of the recipient, the person claimed that it was when they were younger, presumably a minor. In character as a 12-year-old girl, SSB sends the recipient a very explicit rhyme that he wrote. You could see on the pictures for yourself exactly what he wrote, but to summarize, it was a very sexual... I don't even know how to describe it. It was a very sexual story about this 12-year-old character. The contrast of this supposed child character that SSB plays and the disgusting contents of the message are sickening, and an indicator of very predatory behavior. Next, we have a comment on an archival video of a Brixton street in 1995. This comment is allegedly made by SSB, and what he has to say is vile. He fixates on a little girl who briefly walks by the camera in the footage and laments that he wishes schools in England still required children to wear heels. Moving on, we have a comment made on a now deleted Reddit post in r/Doncaster, an area in England where investigators suspect SSB to reside. The post was a photograph of SSB, asking the locals of the area if they recognized him. One commenter alleged that he worked at a local courthouse that SSB frequently had to attend in the late 90s and early 2000s due to getting in trouble with the police for attempting to interact with children in public and online. The commenter went on to say that he was a known creep, and that the court dismissed all of his cases due to the fact that the judge believed SSB really thought he was a child. With our knowledge of his online presence, this is a very disturbing anecdote. It is additionally showing that he has seemingly been exhibiting this predatory behavior since at least the 1990s. Before we move on to the investigation, I'd like to discuss one last piece of evidence found during the writing of the script for this video. This is by far the most chilling discovery of the investigation, and we will be blurring all of the footage over concern for the parties involved. On a newly found Instagram account run by SSB, he posted a video of him chasing a child through a park. The child is horrified, sprinting away, and all throughout the footage we could hear SSB's sadistic cackling. I feel that this piece of evidence speaks for itself. Now, let's speak to one of the selfless investigators who found SSB's real identity and reported him to the police. Well, first off, would you just describe, after investigating this guy, like, just give me your description of what you believe is his character to be?
Alright, so first things first, SSB, Smartest Schoolboy 9, is probably the most depraved figure I've ever just encountered online. We've seen like the likes of Daniel Larson, we've seen, you know, Cobra and stuff like that, but this guy's just on a different level because I don't think he realizes how much his online persona has affected the way he's viewed. You know, when we encountered him, it was just this ridiculous culmination of just the most insane and uncanny images we could find. And then it just kept getting deeper and deeper for the most part. I don't think there's any real way to describe him because, you know, for the most part, we haven't really discovered who the hell he is yet, like really, truly. We have names, we have like addresses even, but, you know, I want to get into his head, man. Like, I want to peek behind the curtain. It just seems like there's something really, really crazy going on there. If you see his Facebook, he was talking about how this 14-year-old girl had like an interaction with him, and he kind of made her seem like at least from, you know, his perspective, which we can obviously take with a grain of salt, but he was kind of pinning her as the issue, like as the problem. Like, my brother in Christ, if you had a relationship with a 14-year-old girl, it's your fucking fault.
I wasn't directly involved with the like investigation team that you guys were a part of. Can you walk me through like what the investigation was like from the start, like the discovery to like getting him reported to the police?
The beginning stages was just archiving, discussion, and compiling. We were just trying to like really kind of get the entire grasp of the entire situation, because mind you, he has like 11 plus pages. So the majority of the investigation was delving into that. Now, as for how we found him, it's a very specific process that was ridiculous. And I have to say, huge, massive props to them, because they used brief images that he had made in his physical videos. The videos that he had videotaped of himself, he had shown brief images of legit just passing by buildings. In one of his videos, he's walking down this road right here, but he briefly passes by this supermarket at night. And that was one of the tell-alls that we were able to find, that this is where he lived. And it just came down to just a collective kind of investigation of people kind of just giving their insight, you know, giving what they have, giving, you know, their perspectives on, you know, who they think this guy is, where do you think he lives. So you've seen those videos of himself in his hallway and he's like showing off his boots and all that stuff, right? Yeah. So that hallway was one of the main things that helped me find out where his door was. Now, the reason why that footage was important is because I had to go off with the assumption that this is where he lived, since this was where he consistently recorded from, and this was his front door. It all just came down to the collective kind of mind that we had, the collective brain power of just people that were local in the UK that could kind of give us enough information, give us enough locations to again narrow down the general area, and from there we were able to see from brief videos where the hell he was. These people were just looking at every frame, looking for every possible notion that could give anything revealing. And because of his mistakes, because he decided to record his surroundings so much, we were able to narrow it down. And when it comes to his identity, that was specifically found through a lot of his pages. So what people did is that they brute forced a lot of key search terms to look for different accounts. So that's how we found the majority of his persona pages of him, acting as different school children and whatnot. So from there, we were able to find his Facebook. And for the most part, his Facebook just kind of reveals the majority of the stuff, as well as his Instagram is a separate Instagram where he has this weird lyricist singer page. So on his Facebook, he links a Instagram called Lyricist David. Now, from the reports that we got from multiple witnesses, we knew that his name was David. And as for his last name, is not entirely confirmed. So if you look at this page right here, this is his page, and he seems really into comedy sketches, acting, singing. One of the ways that we were able to confirm that this was his page is this hat specifically. This hat right here is featured in one of his videos, and he's wearing it with a wig and a whole schoolgirl getup. Here's the classic shoes. You see the mini boots right here. So that's another one of the things that we were able to use to try to, confirm his location and his page. You see just brief images and videos of him in London and, his favorite parts of London and displaying his quote unquote vocal talents and stuff like that. What's also interesting that we were able to find this page is poetry. This is a poem right here. But a whole bunch of people brute forced a lot of the poetry that was put in the captions and just looked for key terms. And that's how we were able to find the Lyricist David Facebook account, because he posts poetry there. In terms of the investigation, it was just a lot of discussion, a lot of archiving. They scoured the internet. That's just what it comes down to. They scoured the internet, absolutely scoured the internet. They looked on every corner, just looking for, again, poems that this guy had written. We already know where he lives. Let's search for that, all that stuff. And it's just ridiculous, man, what we were able to find. And that's all I could really say about the investigation. It was just all across the internet. We had just searched for just anything we possibly could. And mind you, all of this was publicly available information that he put online. And all it came down to was just, again, connecting the threads, crossing them, legit. He had multiple pages, so we looked through every page to give an idea as to his location, his identity. It just goes deep, dude. It really just goes deep. Genuinely, we were constantly finding new stuff, and the rabbit hole, again, it just kept getting deeper. Whenever we found new pages and that shit got more disturbing, it just revealed all the more about SSB. It just revealed this kind of character that we had painted in our minds, and all we were looking for was just more information, and we had to scour the internet in order to do so. This investigation was the combined work of straight up hundreds of people have just found this shit. A good 30 of them mainly contributed to finding everything and compiling and archiving. It was for those people who were really smart on how the internet works that we were able to kind of just narrow things down and find those pages. And more than anything, it was because of SSB. All that stuff, all that information he gave.
I'm not sure how much knowledge you specifically have on it, but what was the police's response after it was reported?
So a select few people were able to contact the Yorkshire police in regard to SSB. As a result, there was a lot of witnesses that we talked to online that had told us that he had been in contact with the police before. So all it came down to was someone who lived in the UK being willing to report this. We gave them all our information, all the information and more than I gave you, that you could see in the server. Everything that we found, his address, everything was given to the Yorkshire police. And what really sucks is that all we were told as a result of this is that, hey, we have the information and we're taking it seriously. That's all we can give you. And the thing is that with the Yorkshire police, all we can say is that they're investigating this, dude. And it really sucks to say that, because I wish I had more information, but they've kind of just over the course of weeks just kind of told us, hey, we're still looking into this, we're taking it seriously, and we're still using this information that you've given us. That's all we can tell you. And for the most part, all it came down to was someone making a case number, us submitting a lot of information to that case number, anything that we got, any interviews that we made with the witnesses, any new information that came out. I'm hoping that, all this information that we found is nothing to obstruct, the investigation, because like I said, all I want for this guy is to get, put him in an institution, get him some help. And I'm really glad that they're using all this, combined work of straight up hundreds of people to, look into this, to seriously investigate way more and look into this and take action on it, But straight up, man, all I can say is that they're seriously looking into it. And that's as much we can hope for. I'm as eager to find out more information on this as you are. I really hope something serious comes out of this. I really, really hope something serious comes out of this. And I think now is an appropriate time to make people aware of him. I feel like making him a danger to society, putting this guy out on the internet and making sure that people know about him, making sure that people are scared about him and willing to, share and repost him. I feel like it's going to be important.
The Ivory Door.